Toxin, good. Obviously, it's going to be a bounce, primarily a bounce card. That's where everybody's focus is going to go. But is it going to be worth picking up? For anybody who doesn't know, here it is on screen. 2-1. Return your other cards here to your hand, plus 2 power for each card returned. So if you have 3 cards there, that's 6 power. It's going to be a 2/7. Obviously, it's a 2 cost, so it curves nicely into Beast, so that you can bounce him back, play him for a 1 cost the following turn with, say, whatever you've bounced back. The issue is, when do you play him? Because if you play him on 2, you're only bouncing 1 thing. If you wait till 4, you potentially bounce 3 things, but then when do you bounce him back? Do you bounce him back? What are some decks that he could work in? Well, I got all that and more. Alright, so first off, I want to talk about the spotlight. Obviously, when Zabu got released, when it got released, the Zabu was going to be in the spotlight. I don't know about everybody else, but I immediately knew Zabu was going to get reworked. He's a 1/2. It discounts every 4 cost in your deck by 1. Solid card. A good card to have if you don't have him. There are some decks floating around that do utilize Zabu. It's not the best card in Snap, but it is solid. Elsa Bloodstone. She works with Kitty Pryde decks. Philip Lane. Keep adding plus 2 power. Every time you do. Solid card to have. She can work into some zoo lists and etc. etc. Anything where you're going to be filling up lanes and filling up lanes often. So the spotlight is pretty solid, but it's also nothing like, I'll be honest, every Toxin deck I'm going to talk about today does not feature either of these 2 cards in the slightest. I feel like Toxin's playstyle, while it could go with the Elsa Bloodstone, it also, like, she's slottable, but she's also like that card that is the first one easily replaced. So let's get into the decks. Alright, got 6 of them for you. The first one is going to be a traditional bounce deck utilizing the collector, since we do have 3 ways to bounce cards. You could put in Kate Bishop as another, she generates cards, which will be good with the collector, and then you could utilize those 1 cost. You know, the acid arrow is really great. The hood is in here for producing the demons, but that would be what I would replace if you wanted to. Solid. It's, you know, you're going to put Toxin in and try and bounce your Iceman, Korg, and Silver Sable as much as possible. Hawkeye and Kitty Pryde are obviously for generating power. It's solid, you know. There's going to be a lot of disruption in this. You're adding rocks, and every time you do, you shuffle their deck. And every time you hit them with Silver Sable, that's -2, -2, -2. Then you don't know what you're hitting with the Iceman, but every time you proc that Iceman, it's just a lot of disruption based bounce deck. Next, we have a Affliction deck. One of the combos that I really love is Aranya with Dagger, or really anything with Dagger to move her last turn. With Toxin, you can Ghost Rider and Ghost Spider and Dagger on 3, and then you can Toxin the 2 of them back to your hand, get that power on Toxin, and then use Ghost Spider and Dagger on turn 6 again. Just Toxin really curves out being able to reproc things multiple times and get that Affliction easier and whatnot. Beast is in there to bring things back as well. You can drop the Ghost Spider and the Dagger on top of Toxin, beast them all back, and then throw them all 3 of them back down again. So third deck, back to what Bounce has kind of been doing over the last month since Agent Venom's dropped. You utilizing Bast to make everything in your hand three power, Agent Venom to make everything 4 power. By now, everybody knows if you hit the Mysterio, then the clones will have whatever power as well. In here, I do have the Ghost Spider Dagger. I don't have the Aranya, but it's still solid. Iron Man is in there to double up on a lane. And of course, Hit Monkey with everything to finish it off. This is more about not so much bouncing so much, but bouncing one time, like a lane. Pick a lane that you're going to bounce once. So if you can do the Ghost Spider Dagger on 3, on top of, say, Silver Sable or Rocket Raccoon or something, and then dropping a whole bunch of cards later, or even Hawkeye to produce more 1 cost in your hand, to Black Swan later, etc., etc. Toxin number 4, fourth deck, is a Darkhawk deck. What doesn't love to be reprocced multiple times more than a Darkhawk list? Not only are you doing the disruption, obviously every card in here disrupts in some way, but you are just feeding numbers into the Darkhawk when you do drop it. And it's primarily in its own lane by itself. White Widow and Red Guardian, another one of my absolute favorite combos right now. Turn 2 into turn 3, White Widow, Red Guardian, just can kill a lane more than you actually know. You could throw in armor as a backup for the Red Guardian, but just forcing them to fill up a lane that they may not have wanted to play in, or, even if they fill it, then they've got to wait the next turn before they can play a final card there. That kind of stuff really messes with their game plan, even if you don't get to Red Guardian and disable that Widow's Kiss. Fifth deck. I am an avid enjoyer of Mill, and Cersei is my card of the month. Cersei is the card that I was able to hit Infinite with. Phenomenal card. You get far fewer, especially with the Destroyer change now, you get far fewer bad cards with Cersei. Just phenomenal plays. The worst card to get is Carnage, actually. Absolutely ruin a lane. But other than that, solid card. So, Mill, obviously a place where you want to reproc things multiple times. And with Toxin, now you can reproc things while boosting him. Then you can play him down in another lane and flip them all to 1 cost higher with Cersei, making Mill more competitive than it's ever been. Hood is in here just to proc demons for extra power. One of the things that I like is to Hood and then Cersei plus demon last turn. Flip that Hood, add that 6 power into another lane. Really good. And last deck is a junk deck. So the reason I put Toxin into junk is because, yes, you want to be junking up their lane, but you don't always want to be bricking up your lane. Especially when you can get things like X-Mansion or the Raptors, Central Park, the WAD junk of your own, of the locations junk, essentially into your space. So with Toxin, you can bring it all back to the hand. You don't have to worry about your board being junked, and then you can continue to junk their board. With Selene, even if you hit something like White Widow, or Korg rather than the Green Goblin, you can still send that over with the Annihilus. Of course, it's got the Sentry play. If you wanted to, you could put in Hood instead of Selene. You could put in Hood and something else instead of Green Goblin, for a nice again, Cersei plus Demon on the final turn. So it's always that. But yeah, in my opinion, Toxin, everybody's looking at it as just purely a bounce card in the typical bounce shell. And, that looks different month to month, but it's usually a bunch of one cost and bouncing them and dropping Hip Monkey. And now it's got Agent Venom, and sometimes it has Iron Man, and now it's got Iron Man more. But I really think that Toxin's going to be one of those cards that, if you think outside the box, there's a lot of times that you want to bounce stuff back to the hand. You want to reproc it, or you want to pull it up and get it out of your lane. A good scenario is when the goblins come over and you know that Galactus is coming down. You bounce those back, boom, and then you're good. This is a card that really can fit into multiple things. Even, I don't have a high Evo deck here, but that's one I could easily put together with Silver Sable and Scorpion and Cassandra Nova, and then you're going to have Magic, and then on turn 5 you're going to Toxin them back to the hand, and then turn 6 you play them again, and then you just, really eat up your opponent's side of the board. A lot of things you can do. So, or even on turn 4, bounce those back, play them again on turn 5, drop Hulk and Abomination, turn 6, a lot of things you can do with Toxin. I think it's going to be a fantastic card. Tier 1, 4 stars, easy. So I definitely recommend picking him up, giving him a try. Check out my Discord, because this week I'm going to be running I haven't run one in a while, but I am going to be running a deck building contest where I'm going to be giving away, I don't know, something. I'll decide between now and when the card comes out for whatever I feel is the best and most unique Toxin deck put together within the Discord. So I'm going to link that in the description. Yeah, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can be up to date on every time I drop a video, which I drop some bangers, guys. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching.